Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I want to do a reading into these current energies. Everything feels so completely different to me, like as if we walked through a portal, like that 1111 energy. You walk through a portal and you're in a completely different land. It's like, what happened? It feels like overnight, but I know it wasn't that way. And I know we've been preparing for this for lifetimes and decades and our whole lives. And I've been talking about this in the last couple of readings, just all that sort of like sealing off the energy leaks and just sealing, like sealed, crowned and sealed, where you're transmitting your own frequency, you're aligning with the highest and the best, and just all the cleanup that we've done. And it's almost that feeling, I know for a lot of us, it's like we were just going through all the different trials and the initiations and the dark night of the souls and the awakenings and all the things, and kind of like in the back of our minds knowing that at one point it would pay off, at one point we would stabilize, at one point we would clear enough of the dross that we would become our diamond selves. And yet another part of us being like, really, maybe, especially in the midst of a deep clearing, like maybe this is all there is, and maybe it's just endless piles of shit to work through. And it's almost like I almost feel like I'm in shock, like, oh my gosh, this is really happening? It's like we really have come home. We really have come home to ourselves, to the truth of reality, and things starting to stabilize and integrate in that way, like back in the garden type of energy, and starting to notice things shifting in our lives, in our hologram as well, our personal lives, our personal hologram. So anyway, I want to read into the energy, and just I'm going to dive into the cards and just see what message might want to come through at this time, because I know we're all kind of in different places and different phases and stages, but I do feel this sort of homecoming, we have arrived type of energy, accessible and available in the field. Enough people have stabilized that if you turn off the noise and the distraction and the frenetic energy, and you step outside of all of that and you really tune into the energetics, it feels completely different. It feels like home, it feels like grace, it feels like God, it feels like unity. And tuning into that more and more as much as we can, and realizing that there is a grand rising and a grand illumination going on that's palpable, that's absolutely palpable. It's mind blowing. So I want to read actually for myself and just see what wants to come through. And I thought, well, I'll just record and I'll share, because it will probably be helpful for others or illuminating for others as well. So all right, let's read into the energies right now. See what wants to come through. I'm going to do an overall energy for this reading. What do we get? Oh, wow. Scarab beetle, which always reminds me of this. Doesn't it look almost like exactly like a scarab beetle? Magic works through you. Magic works through you. Magic works through you. Magic works through you. Yeah, because we're in alignment now. We're in alignment, and so we're transmitting, and we've been talking about this, like coming back to our original energetic signature, so that what we're putting out into the world is a match to our unique divine spark, our unique contribution, in this earth trek. And in that sense, the magic is working through us, because we're channeling through our divinity. We've cleared what's in the way, and that's when we start creating heaven on earth. All of us living like the Aquarian age, all of us living our unique divine spark to bring through. It's heaven. It's heaven on earth. That's the energy. That's the energy right now. Behind all the distraction, behind all that which is crumbling, we've we're here. We're here. We can see it. We can just look right behind the veil and see it and feel it and build it and put our attention on that. So the Eight of Earth, this is a card of mastery. It's a card of hard work. It's a pentacle. It's work on the earth. This is what we've done on our earth trek. This can represent all of our different lifetimes. The thing that we've been working on, we were talking about this last time. This card came up in a different deck in the last reading, and it was a different image where he had all his pentacles around him, but the eighth pentacle was that gold. He was melting the gold and forming his eighth pentacle, and that's what we were talking about. All the times and ways that we've been preparing for this, and all the work that we've done, and it landing right now where it's coming through into that golden expression, that higher age expression. So here it is again, the Eight of Earth, just symbolizing the mastery, symbolizing we've done the work. We've done the work. And again, the magic moving through us now, because we've stripped off. We've done the work. We've done the unveiling within ourselves. and then contributing into the world in that way as well, because the more of us that do that, the more we raise the bar on the collective frequency and the collective consciousness, where things start being magnetized in for humanity. And we were talking about that last time too, like the cosmic energies, the Schumann resonance, the other energies that are supporting this, all being a part of the collaboration that we're all going through for this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Five of Cups. The Five of Cups being that card of loss and grief and longing, and again, that being part of the work that we've gone through. You know, the traumas and the trials and the catalyst, the grist for the mill that has turned our grapes into wine, or our coal into diamond. You know, the diamond, the things we had to go through, and that we went through willingly, determinedly, because some part of us remembered what we were here for. We were here to shine our true light and to bring through the magic that we truly are, and all the work that had to be done to uncover that in this realm at this point in human evolution. Okay, so let's see what else here. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups, you know, of course, this is the Five of Cups, and then the Four of Cups. Well, the Five of Cups, you have your 3 cups there that you've lost, you know, and then you have your 2 cups over here who are still standing. So there's still hope, but in both of these cards, he's focusing on the cups that, well, it's interesting because in this deck, the cups are standing, you know, the cups are standing. Over here, they're fallen, and there's really no hope. And this is when you're really going through that alchemy and you're grieving, and, you know, there's just, you have to feel that you've lost everything, because you have to churn and you have to compress that seed so that it can crack. But in this deck, you know, the cups are, they're upright, you know, but you're still very sad. And it's kind of this thing of like, not only are these cups upright, where you can potentially have things coming in that are offering you something that you didn't think you had, but then there's this other golden cup. It's almost like that eighth pentacle that he's making that's coming through, which is, so we might be looking, this is sort of, because I was like, well, this is all kind of obvious so far, like, you know, what is the message for us right now? And then this card came out. So it almost feels like the things that are being offered to us now, like we're in this kind of energy of like, nothing good is ever going to happen. It's almost like a Five of Pentacles energy, where you're so used to the loss that you almost don't want to get excited about the things that are in front of you, not realizing that there's this whole other up-leveled expression. It's like these cups are now turning into golden cups. We don't know it yet. So we were talking about that last time, where kind of that identity crisis, where, you know, you lose everything that's been kind of bringing you security, that false security, like what we were talking about, the true security being coming back to our divinity and back to our wholeness. And we're losing the false security, and you know, and then feeling almost like an identity crisis, like, well, who am I without this? Well, here, you know, we're moving along a little bit further, where it's like things are starting to prop up again. You know, they're upright, you know, there's a stabilization that's happening, but we're still kind of in that energy of like, yeah, I don't know, you know, kind of like what I was saying in the beginning, like where we always sort of felt intuitively that this golden cup, this higher age, this things would pay off in the end, but we weren't sure. You know, this is the energy of like, well, I'm not sure, but yet the essence of this card is that there is, and you can see, and again, I'll post this card below on the Facebook link. It's coming through a hand. So there's something being offered to us that we might not realize yet, but because if we're not looking at it, we're looking in the other direction. We might still be looking towards the old energy, looking towards what we've lost, without even realizing that there's something new presenting. These cups are upright again, where they're ready to receive. There's something coming in. So I definitely feel a message for the collective that there's, some of us haven't quite realized that there is this glorious gift coming in. And again, coming through on the hand, it is a gift. There's something being offered. There's something coming through, filling these cups with a different frequency, a different level. Our lives are up leveling, but we don't quite know it yet. So yeah, this was sort of how I was ending on that last reading. So here it is again, still being in that energy a bit. But the Page of Pentacles is being on a brand new path. So We're at the very beginning of a brand new path. We're at the very beginning of walking our magic through building. We've been talking about this I've been doing these readings for 2 years, and this message of, building the heaven on earth, and it's been coming through slowly and seeing like tiny little shifts and tiny little shifts. But now it's like we really are here. We really have stepped into like that 11:11 energy where you're stepping through that portal. You stepped into this new land, but it's very new. And this isn't the energy anymore of this, even though this is in the reading. It's like we've gone through the loss. That was the work that we've done. We've gone through the loss. We've completed this. We've completed this energy. A lot of us, some people are still going to be going through that as part of their initiations. But this is for those that are moving into this energy first. We're moving into this energy first to anchor it for the others that are going to be going through this kind of energy. Okay, but in terms of the collective energy on the planet, there is this energy coming through, this higher timeline, this higher frequency starting to anchor, starting to descend down into the open cups. We're the open cups. We're the empty vessels. We're the empty vessels ready to receive. We might not realize it yet. Humanity might not realize it yet. And yet here it is showing up as this new path. The pages are very new, brand new. You might, she's crawling. That's what I was talking about last time. Like you were just born and your little horse legs aren't working so well. But here she's crawling. She's moving along. She might not know where she's at. And yet it indicates a new path, that we are on a new path. Okay, let me a little bit more wisdom, indicating that a large part of this new path is wisdom, having the wisdom that we've earned and gained through the alchemy. Again, that other card representing the alchemy, he's forming the gold into a substance that is contributing. It's like a badge of honor from all the work that we've done. We've done the work, we've done the we've done the alchemies, we've done the loss, and in that we've gained wisdom. And moving forward on this new path with wisdom, well, that is the golden nectar, that is what we're bringing through, that is the higher consciousness, that is the Christed consciousness, the wisdom to know that there is unity, the wisdom to know that there's a divine plan, the wisdom to know that everything is a symphony, a divine symphony, and the unity in that, and the compassion and the forgiveness and the seeing through that higher lens, through that lens of wisdom, through the truth of reality, that Christed consciousness, which is the energy, which is what we've been waiting for, the second coming of Christ, in all of us, feeling here's the Christed energy, filling all of these empty cups that we've cleared away, and of course we're receiving it through our own magic. The magic is coming through us, each one of us that receives this energy, this higher consciousness, this Christed consciousness is then transmitting it through our unique vessel. It's our unique version of it, but all of us being that second coming, contributing, building that heaven on earth. So that's really beautiful, indicating the nature of this new path. Is that wisdom, is that knowing that we gained through the trials, through the work that we've done to arrive here, having arrived. Okay, let's see here. Do another oracle card. Oh, wow. Okay, so Psyche. Yeah, so there it is. So that's a number 10 card. The 10s are about completion. So that's definitely what I was feeling in the very beginning of this reading. There's a completion. I'm noticing this is the number 7s I was talking about. I see 7s as a Christed number, the Christ consciousness. So there it is again, the 7, just validating that, because I just noticed that that coming through. But the 10s being a card of completion, and there are the butterflies, the transformation. So going from caterpillar land to butterfly land, and not just, for a while there, it's like we were still a little wet, and we were drying off our wings, but now the wings are dry, they're open, we're holding our transformation in the center of us. I'm just noticing the yellow, and so there's a lot that's been coming through for me around the will and the yellow and the solar plexus and the sun and the Christed energy, the Christ, the masculine, the solar, the will, and really interesting, because it is something that, when we're in this energy and we're feeling like we're losing something, we can feel kind of depressed, or we can be sucked into the outer distractions and just not realizing what's coming through. But there's the yellow again, that will, where it does take a bit of will and activation and our masculine energy to just turn around and look at it, just break the focus off of what we're losing and what we're being conditioned and kind of like seduced into looking at, and turn around and look towards the golden energy. What is the energy that's calling to you, that is lit up, that sparks you, that inspires you, that calls to your soul? I did a reading for somebody the other day, and she was wanting to retire, but she was like, well, I don't know, because with Social Security, and I don't know what's going on, and and the message, the reading was all about listening to her intuition and to her guidance, and to know that she's being guided, and to not be distracted by the illusion of the bad things that could happen. It's like our souls are gonna guide us towards what is appropriate on our new path for us, and it's gonna guide us away from what's not. So if it's not time for us yet, we're not gonna feel the urge. But if we are feeling the urge, so for God's sake, don't ignore that and deny that because of some outward illusion or fear, which if it's fear and if it's doubt, then it's a program. It's a program. And so listen for the louder voice, which is the Christed voice, which is our intuition, which is our, and so thinking a lot about the masculine and the feminine. So I had the solar plexus energy and the will coming up, and the yellow, a lot of synchronicities around that. And at the same time, the water and the flow of the feminine. She who never stops, she who keeps going, and the he who witnesses her flow. And I saw something about that today. I forget where I saw it, but I love that because I've been having all these synchronicities around the water and the solar and the solar plexus and the will and the feminine and the flow and the intuition and how they work together. And so I talk about this all the time, but it's like they're presenting to me in my life through the symbolism of the sun and the water. And then as synchronicity will do, then there was somebody talking about that very thing, like the flow of the feminine, the flow of the water, and the ever-present illumination of the masculine. And so weaving those together and turning our consciousness onto that, using the consciousness that is that solar energy, that is unconditional and compassionate, and witnessing and embracing it all, and embracing the flow, and seeing and hearing the guidance and the intuition in that, and allowing that to guide us, and to not get caught up in the fear or the echo. We were talking about that last time, the echo of the predator. The predator came up in that last reading, and how it kind of bounces off the walls, and we keep hearing it echoed all around us. And yet to have the will to not look in that direction, to turn around, even if just in our senses or in our quiet moment, and feeling the energy behind, and trusting that guidance, because that's the truth. And again, our souls have never left the garden. They've never been mind controlled. They've never been pulled out of the heart. The human's been mind controlled. The human's been siphoned into the mind, and siphoned to look in places of lack and limitation and doubt and fear, and to pull our attention away from that, and to come back into that illumination and that glow, that ever present compassion and love and flow, the two of them together, that's guiding us. So again, that butterfly, that transformation coming into, that is the transformation, where we're no longer crawling. We're no longer just munching on our leaves and and crawling. We get to fly now. We get to fly, and we've done that transformation, and we're holding on to it. We're not allowing ourselves to fall for the illusion of the need to crawl, or the need to have less, or the need to fear, the need to hold back and not listen to our own Christ itself, our own illumination, our own God consciousness through the flow of our lives, through the intuition. I'm using different analogies than I normally use, because they just keep coming to me, this yellow and this solar and this water and this flow and this the movement. So anyway, you get the gist of what I'm saying here, but yeah, just allowing yourself to listen and to trust, and not to be pulled into that fear, and to not, because it's a program. And so here we are with our wings, and the truth of the matter is, we've always had our wings. We've always had our wings. We've always had our soul, but we were so covered up, and we were living the life of the caterpillar, and now we've gotten our wings back. This card is coming out underneath the 8 of Pentacles, the 8 of Earth. So that is all the work that we've done throughout our lifetimes and throughout this life, to uncover and to reactivate and remember our butterfly. It's like we're never going to allow ourselves to be confused or held down again. We're never going to allow that to happen. So it's like just using that will, and kind of like, rubbing the sleep out of our eyes, and being like, well, why am I entertaining that at all? Like, I've been freed. I know this. I'm in this new land. I'm back in the garden. and I'm not going to leak my energy to anything anymore, and just being really, really vigilant about that. There does seem to be a strong energy around that choice and that will right now. So let me pull another one here. How long did I talk for? 19 minutes. I think this one will be shorter because I didn't have a whole lot to say in the beginning, because I'm just sort of in shock and awe about what's happening, and I wanted to get a feel into it. But it does seem kind of obvious. You know, we're in alignment. We're living through this. We might not quite know it yet because it's very new, but we have gone through that shift. So just a validation of that. We are in the butterfly, and to hold it sacred, and to guard against anything that would disturb it. To hold it sacred, because it is quite new. It's quite new, not only for us but for humanity. So the front runners, the ones that are going first. Oh, yeah. And this came up the last time too. This was the one at the end of the reading where that's what it was. It was like, well, if you're going to walk through hell, walk through it like you own the place, because it was so awkward for so many of us to be out. You know, it would feel great in our homes or in nature, and then as soon as we would go out, it'd be like, oh God, you know, and just the frequency mismatch. But I feel like we have stabilized more, and that it's easier. So this was the card that came out where it was just like, yeah, carry that grill. See, is he holding the cup? No, he's not holding it. It's right here. But a lot of the king the knight of cups, like in that other reading, he was holding the cup. It's like, it's the holy grail. It's the feminine, it's our intuition, it's our soul, it's our knowing, it's the masculine and the feminine together. It's that woven through, holding them together, the flow and the illumination, and just walking it through and staying committed to that, staying dedicated to that. That is the mission. That is why we're here, and holding it sacred, not letting anything throw us off, because somebody has to hold it. Somebody has to hold it steady. We haven't gotten any negative cards yet in this reading, but last time we did have the predator, which is basically the devil. We had Persephone with the inexperience, you know, the vulnerable. You know, there was a lot of that kind of energy around where, and I think a lot of us were feeling that way too, where it was taking, like, I felt like I had to use all my tools and really work pretty hard to stay stable and to maintain, and to have a lot of courage and a lot of conviction, and again will to keep going. I kind of just wanted to hold up and just be in my own energy, and, you know, just kind of like hide away, but I couldn't because of my schedule and my daughter, which is not a coincidence. You know, it's like our lives, our holograms, what's going on is exactly right for us and for what we need and for what the world needs. And so I couldn't avoid it, you know, and I think that's true for a lot of it. We had to just walk it through. We had to show up, even though it was really uncomfortable. And now it doesn't feel that uncomfortable anymore, which is interesting. Also, I've been given some like grace period. I'm going to Colorado to visit family, which is definitely being out. But yeah, it's like things are moving differently in my life. My schedule is off, and I'm taking a whole day off just to clean and prepare. And so it's almost like, you know, we were kind of corralled. I don't know if you're relating to this, but kind of corralled in a certain thing. Like, no, I'm sorry, you can't get out of it. You have to go this way. And then everything kind of went whoosh. You know, and it's like that in the garden feeling, but also with that is like a lot more spaciousness and a lot more flow, and not feeling so contracted as we walked through the mismatch in frequency, as we walked through the hell realms, you know, that being surrounded by lack and loss and limitation, and the belief and the affirmation and the echo of those things, you know. Now there's just a lot more stabilization, and again, the magic moving through us. Why? Because we've stabilized there, you know, and this indicating it, we're on that new path. And it was a little rough. It feels so much better now. It feels so much better. I almost, just tapping into that energy, I forgot how it was feeling. I forgot, and that was part of how it was hard for me to assess and why I wanted to do this reading, because I feel so completely different. I'm like, wait, what just happened? You know, what just happened? But this is sort of similar energy, but you can feel that the energetics of it are very different. It's like the transition has been made. It's not just like keep your finger on the button, prime the well until it kicks in. The well has kicked in. Now it's just preserve it and continue your dedication, continue your service, walk that wisdom forward with you, and it feels a bit easier now. Okay, so what else wants to be said today? Sorry, that was kind of loud. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the masculine. I keep getting this card. I keep getting the masculine, like in different decks as well. Like this morning I got it for myself, and I think I got it yesterday too in a different deck. And I'm realized, and I was always kind of like, you know, but that is the will. There's the will again. There's that solar, that masculine energy, and it's like really stepping up. But I think there is something for the masculine collective as well for the men. You know, obviously it's within us all. It's the inner masculine, but I think there's something for the men as well. And I noticed it in my son this weekend. So the Pope died this weekend, and so that obviously was, you know, a divinely timed thing. I mean, anybody that is well, I don't want to say it like that, but to a lot of people, it's obvious, right? You know, when something big like that happens, and it was right during that Saturn North Node conjunction, you know, Saturn being the old guard, representing the old guard, and the North Node, the evolutionary trend and where we're going, and, you know, when things happen on specific dates and right after Easter, you know, it's like, yeah, it's like I lost custody of my kids on December 21st, 2012. And, you know, even though I was devastated, I was like, oh shit, okay. You know, this is part of the divine plan. This is part of my path. This is part of what needs to happen. So same thing with the Pope, but the masculine and like the distorted masculine collective. And I was noticing it in my son. Like there were just some things that were going on, which again were not an accident. We're not a coincidence. It was that, again, that divine timing in his constellation where there was just stuff getting kicked up for him, and I could see that it was like kicked up around like the distortion, the masculine distortion, but within all of us as well, you know, where we got separated from our hearts, we got separated from our souls, we got separated into the program. But it's like a real shift in that, like the bottom is falling out on that. And I think there was like a big cyber swoosh, you know, through the masculine energy throughout all of us, and probably especially affecting the men or the women that hold a lot of masculine energy that got really separated from their hearts and from the feminine, or from their mothers, or from, speaking of losing custody, you know, that's what happened with my son. He's a very sensitive, you know, empathic, like sort of psychic, energetic kid, and he had to shut it down, you know, he had to shut it down to kind of survive, and that kind of stuff, like loosening up in the world. But, you know, some people getting hit really hard, you know, and you know, even the example of like the old guard falling, you know, and the false guard falling, and the, you know, all the symbolism in that. But definitely something around the masculine on many different levels within the men, especially the ones that have been separated, but also within us, within all of us, as we make our way back to our hearts, as the veils are loosening, but also the will, the masculine energy, the solar energy of the will, and that choice and that dedication, where it's like, I can't keep. And so these two are coming out underneath these two, which are presenting very similar in this reading, where you're looking at that which is dying, or you're looking at the old energy, you're looking at the dead end, you know. And it's like this is the will and the determination to turn away, like what I was saying, and even all the light above his head up here, where, you know, and there's the two staffs, like that 11 energy, where you're walking through that portal, where the way forward, you know, we do need to activate our will a bit and choose it, because this energy is very strong. You know, it's like when something is dying off, it's a lot louder than the quiet sunrise of the dawning illumination of what's been hidden underneath it, you know. But to turn around and to look at it, and to use our will, and that is the masculine. This is a divine masculine energy, where you're turning towards the higher energy, you're turning towards the illumination, you're turning away from the lie, you're turning away from the program, you're turning away from the doubt and the fear. So that's interesting. So let me see what this last card is. It'll complete the configuration here, and then we'll see from there which deck am I going to do. I think I'm going to do this one, the Deck of Shadows. It's a tarot that a friend gave me. So let's see here. Oh, okay. So the Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands coming out underneath the Page of Pentacles. So we're on this very new path. It's grounded on the earth. It's, you know, we're walking it down. But this is the card of, this is my higher timeline card. You know, this is the higher frequency. This is the spirit-led path. So this coming out right after the masculine. That is the divine masculine energy, where the spirit-led path, where you're listening to spirit, you're listening to your intuition, and that indicating the new path of what we're walking forward. So all of this kind of just feels really obvious to me, it feels really obvious, but it was kind of helpful to just read and to just kind of see like, well, what's going on here? Okay, yes, it's obvious. Yes, we're stabilizing, and then we've stabilized in this higher energy. We're walking it through. The magic is coming through us. We got this. We did the work. We have the completion, validation of the completion. We have our wings, but to protect that, and to use our will and to use our masculine energy to turn away from the false stories, to turn away from the habits, to turn away from all of that, because this energy is here. It's available for us. We have the wisdom to do that, and to just be disciplined, to just be disciplined. It's getting easier, and just to walk it through and to represent, to be that vessel that receives this energy, because that's the thing. It's like all available to us, the higher energy, the Christ consciousness, the Sophia energy through the water. It's all right here. I've been connecting with my water. I posted something on Facebook that I saw that was so beautiful. And, I've seen many things over the years about connecting with the water, and like I would write words like God codes on it on my thing, and all these things. But I loved the way that they taught or suggested how to connect with the water. And so I'll just tell you quick. You might have seen it. You might have seen it on my Facebook post, but I think because it was copied, maybe not that many people saw it. But anyway, so it was I honor what is it? I'm not going to remember because I'm in front of a camera. I honor I honor your healing essence. I honor your healing essence, and then basically just holding the water and they suggest like glass or not plastic basically, but I program this water to nourish and rejuvenate and restore every cell of my being, and then I add to activate my DNA, to activate my crystalline memory. And then I feel the oneness in the water and I. And the other thing they suggested was this water carries divine harmony, balance, and crystalline order. And something about that crystalline order, it's like we have that crystalline order too. And then I feel into like how this is like one movement, how we're all supporting each other and we're all playing our different roles, in the water supporting us, and holding that crystalline memory, and us supporting the water and acknowledging it and bringing it forth, and how this is one movement of ascension and awakening and remembering and coming home, and how we're all working together. And I'm getting chills. And so I just get like super into the connection with the water, and I forget why I even brought that up. I got so into how I feel when I do that, but it's like the merging of, that's what it is. So how all of this energy is available to us, and we can be so distracted by what we're afraid we're going to lose, or what we are losing, or what the crumbling world and all this, and meanwhile there's all this stuff being offered to us that we won't connect to unless we choose it. And so connecting with the water is really helping me to not only drink this like wonderful water that's been infused with memory and acknowledgement and activation, but also just connecting with the oneness and the unity. And so like I have a structured water, just a little handheld one, and I pour water back and forth through it, over and over again, and I program it while I'm pouring it. And so I'm connecting with the water, and then I have like these beautiful mugs that I hold, and I feel the water, and so I'm doing this every time I'm drinking a glass of water, or making water for tea, or making water for smoothies, or whatever it is. So connecting with that energy, all throughout the day, and through the water. There's something about the water, right, that representing the feminine energy in that physical form and in our bodies, and then the solar energy, and being in the sun, and being in nature, and all the ways that we can access. And I was talking about this last time or the time before, the truth codes, the God codes, and seeking them out where you can find them, and in the crystals, and having the crystals around you. And I have one actually stuck in here that my friend gave me, and it's it's a septarian. It's a septaria, but it's what do they call it? Healing shield, septaria. And so this is so beautiful. It's like, because it reminds me of the fracture, the fractured reality. And then on this side, it looks like a sunrise, like a sunrise coming through that's clearing the fracture. And but all the ways that we can connect, and that we can put our attention to, and choosing to put our attention to things that really feed us and connect us and remind us. And again, the will and the choice, because it's all here and it's available to us, and it's just a matter of retraining and turning towards and making that the priority, which is the priority. It's what we've been working on for a really long time, but it's like those hooks and those pulls, and again, like how maybe everybody around you is still, talking about this and still doing this, and having the strength and the leadership, and again that masculine energy, I got you, I got you world, I got you self, I got you friends, I got you family. We're just being that structured water, and holding that Christ consciousness, that higher frequency, the higher frequency of remembrance, and walking it home, and having that dedication, being that holy grail, that vessel that fills it and carries it, and making that your priority as we move forward. So because we're really here, we're really here, and we can't fall off track. We can kind of get distracted, but it's just getting easier and easier, and I can really tell from the cards, and definitely feel from the energy, that we're a lot more stabilized than we were last week, where it was just almost like a trauma where like so much left at once within us, that we just felt like, for me, I think I said this last time, where I felt kind of like depressed and bored, where I was like, well, who am I now? I was just maybe kind of in this energy, but now it's really not feeling so painful to represent, and to be this energy, to be the front runner, to be the one that's anchoring. And there are a whole crew of us, in the telepathic network between us, that I always mention, the telepathic network, where we're tuning into each other, and it's like we're fractals of the same God goddess, or fractals of this same God consciousness, the same Mother Father, the same unity principle, the same unity consciousness. We're fractals again. We're our own unique spark, but we're all part of the same one mind, the same one being, and we all have our marching orders. And we're walking them through, but we're walking them through together. Somebody else is doing the part that you can't do, and you're doing the part that they can't do, and you're using slightly different words than they're using, but we're all tuning into that same higher mind. I saw somebody say something the other day, and he was talking about like people like copying each other, and I thought about that, and I was like, well, I think on a certain level, yeah, maybe people copy each other, maybe they do, but I feel like at this point, at least the people that I'm connecting to, we're all tuning into the same energy, we're tuning into the same truth, and we're describing it in our own ways, and maybe we're like, oh, I like that word, I'm going to use that word. Like Dave Emerson, he studied Ashiana Dean's writings and channels, and he just makes them a little more concise and accessible, but he used the word reality fields instead of timelines, because reality fields, I was just like, gosh, that really captures it. We have all these different reality fields, timelines in place, time, and it gets kind of confusing, but reality fields, it's like, what reality field are you living in? What are you subscribing to with your beliefs and your focus? Okay, so I'm doing my ramble, my spiel afterwards instead of before, but yeah, what reality field are you aligning to? But anyway, that wording is like, we might be inspired by each other's words, and then we create more group consciousness around new definitions, a new glossary, like what word is appropriate now in this energy, and finding that. But all of us tuning in, like if you're intuitive and you're feeling these energies, we're all feeling the same thing. And whether you're seeing it through astrology, or seeing it through psychic perception, or seeing it through cards, or just feeling, or just spidey senses, it's this one movement that we're all making as fractals of the one being. And so yeah, it's just really, really beautiful. So just a reminder of that, and just a powwow about that, to keep our focus on what is really true, and what is really coming in, as we're stabilizing these energies, and as a lot of people are in this kind of energy, and doing our piece to hold on to what's true, and to really stabilize the frequency, so that it's easier for others that have a harder time, that are maybe need to go through some of their dark nights, to catalyze and to open, the second and third and the fourth and the whatever waves. But hearing the marching orders, and acclimating more and more to the butterfly land, the truth of who we are, the truth of who we've always been, and who we're always destined to become. So okay, I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that was helpful to you. And yeah, we'll see where we're at. To me, it kind of feels like a slip slide, like things are moving so fast that you can't even quite track it. And so again, doing this reading was helpful to just kind of like pinpoint some things, but it's all really obvious as well. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your consciousness and your peace and your courage. And we're doing this. We're all doing it together, and we have been for a really long time. So okay, much love to you. I'll see you next time if I do. Bye-bye.